Budget travel isn't just about penny pinching. It's about unlocking the door to more adventures. The less you spend, the more trips you can take. And I've even found that the less you spend, the more fun it is. You get more involved with the local people, rather than just tour guides and events laid on for tourists. Since leaving England in 1990, I've made my home in 5 countries and explored many more. My passport tells the story. 40 countries across 35 years of continuous travel. How? By mastering the art of spending less to see more. The maths is simple. Cut your daily expenses in half, and suddenly your 2-week vacation becomes a month-long adventure. I had been used to package tours and spending lots of money on vacations, but when I left England at 27 to start long-term travel, I joined 3 others who were on tight budgets. I remember that first night in Bombay, India. We were shown a really cheap room that I wouldn't expect my worst enemy to stay in. I laughed at the thought of sleeping there, but the other 3 said, yeah, that's fine. I got used to it. I was young and it was an adventure. There was more excitement living in cheap rooms and hostels in parts of a city where locals live. I've never found the same feeling in 5-star hotels. Here's what I've learned along the way. For flights, Google Flights is your best friend. As a destination, you can choose a city, but to find cheaper flights, you can choose a country or even a continent. And you can select a whole month to find the cheapest dates. One time I went from London to Sweden, and another time from London to Austria, and the flights cost less than the train to the airport. By getting these cheap, random flights, you'll find yourself in unexpected places, not just joining the hordes of people going to popular beach destinations to get drunk. Master the art of stopovers. Why see one country when you can experience 2 or 3 for around the same price? If you're planning a long-haul trip, why not stop somewhere on the way? When I lived in the Philippines and travelled back to England, I'd often stay in Bangkok for a few days. If I was using Egypt Air, I'd have a few days in Cairo as well. The last time I went to the Philippines, I stopped over in Turkey and Malaysia. It isn't as easy as it used to be to split a flight with a stopover, so there are a couple of good ways that I do it. One way is to buy lots of single flights. I like this way as it's more flexible. I just book 1 or 2 of the flights and decide later where to go. Just be careful to check if you need to have an onward ticket for each country. Another way is to get 2 return tickets. So for example, if you want to go from London to Bangkok via Shanghai, you can get a London to Shanghai return and a Shanghai to Bangkok return. That's usually cheaper than single tickets, and it's fine if you're sure of the exact dates. Choose budget-friendly destinations. Your dollar, euro or pound stretches dramatically depending on where you land. Southeast Asia, parts of Latin America and Eastern Europe offer incredible experiences at a fraction of Western Europe or North America. I lived comfortably in Thailand long-term for $1,200 a month. No way I could do that in New York or the Middle East. And look beyond the obvious. Albania offers Mediterranean beaches without the Greek prices. Mexico provides cultural richness at a fraction of the cost of the US. Timing's everything. Avoid the peak season like the plague. It's not just more expensive, it's more crowded and often less authentic. If you're traveling long term, you can't avoid the holidays, but you can stay in less touristy areas. I used to spend a long time in Phuket, Thailand. I would stay in the tourist areas most of the time, but at Christmas and New Year, prices shot up and it got really busy. I just moved to one of the local areas, between the popular beaches. I had a motorbike, so I could go anywhere easily anyway. I preferred the low season, as the locals had more time and there was more of an expat atmosphere, rather than lots of package tourists. Rethink accommodation. 4 or 5-star hotels are the least interesting and most expensive option. Consider hostels. They're the easiest place to meet people, either in the dormitory or in common rooms. Many have private rooms if you want the benefit of privacy at night. They're definitely the budget way to go, and better for under 30s. Guest houses or small hotels. These are more friendly than the large hotels, as there are fewer rooms and it's more casual. You bump into the other guests a lot, and it's easy to get to know the owners and staff. I'd often have a beer with the guest house owners when I lived in Phuket and be invited to parties or a meal. If you're staying long term, it's cheaper to rent an apartment. In Thailand, you can find monthly rentals for as little as $300 a month, depending on the area. You won't find these on Airbnb, but have to get some transport and go around to find the bargains. I rarely book more than 3 or 4 days in advance when going to a new place. It might mean I have to move if the accommodation becomes full, but I don't know if I like the area or like the accommodation. I'd rather not be committed to something I don't like. Move like a local. Tourist transportation options are overpriced. Instead, use local bus networks. It's more fun anyway, and you meet people along the way. I took my mother to Turkey a couple of years ago. We used the local minibuses to get around, and we'd just jump on one, even if we didn't know it was going. My mother enjoyed it that way too, and she's 90. Rent bikes or motorbikes, but be careful. It gives you a lot more freedom and flexibility, and you can stop when you find something interesting. Consider overnight trains for long distances. It saves a night accommodation. I haven't done it for a while, but I did it in Asia a lot back in the 90s. Eat strategically. Food can devour your budget or enhance your experience. So try these approaches. Eat away from the main tourist hubs or beautiful views. Those restaurants can cost 3 times what ones a couple of 100 meters away can charge. Eat where the locals eat and you can save even more. In Thailand, I'd often get food and sit on the beach to eat it. Cheap food and a great view. Street food is often the most delicious option. Look for lines of locals. When I lived in Taipei, we'd often go to one of the night markets to have a beer and teppanyaki. I know it's Japanese, but there were several places that cooked it in front of you in the market. The most memorable experiences often cost nothing. Hiking urban and rural trails, public parks and beaches, free or low-cost museums, local festivals and celebrations. Just by walking around, I'm always finding interesting stuff. The other day, there was a Queen tribute act in a small town for free. I didn't even know it was on and enjoyed the evening there. Other times, I've ended up joining weddings, being invited to eat with locals, or enjoyed watching buskers or street acts. It's interesting watching local fishermen hauling a catch, or just people watching in a busy area. Embrace technology. Apps have revolutionized budget travel. Google Flights for budget plane journeys, Google Search to find budget accommodation in a given area, then Agoda or Booking.com to make the booking, Google Maps for navigation and transport options, Radio.net, an app for world radio stations, Google Translate to speak to locals, Uber, Grab or Bolt for rides depending on the country, All Trails to find the best hikes, WhatsApp to stay in touch with friends, and you've got Where is Public Toilet for, well, you know what, and many more apps. Banking Smart saves hundreds. Small fees add up dramatically. I use Wise as my main card and Revolut as a backup. The fees are less than 1% for most currencies. It's best to use them rather than cash, as ATMs usually have a fee for cash withdrawals. If you want some cash from an ATM, check which bank is best. A crazy place is Turkey. Some ATMs have 0 fees for foreign cards, and others have up to 10%. It's about people, not places. My richest travel moments involve people, not monuments. Like the Indian family who invited me and a friend to dance at their wedding. A Japanese student who invited a few of us to go skiing and stay in his ski lodge. An English guy I met while traveling in Nepal and met up with later to cycle the coast of Vietnam. A group of us who rafted down a river for 10 days in Nepal. People I met while scuba diving in the Philippines. These connections happen when you travel slowly and cheaply, not when rushing between luxury hotels and top 10 attractions. Slowing down saves money. The faster you travel, the more you spend. Transportation costs eat budgets. I stay at least a week in most locations, but often a few months. This approach reveals hidden corners of a place, and you get to feel more relaxed. Unexpected opportunities happen that rushed travelers miss entirely. I spent a couple of weeks in a city in the Philippines and extended it as I saw I could study computing there. Then I started dating one of the teachers, and my whole life changed. 35 years of budget travel hasn't just saved me money, it's fundamentally changed how I experience the world. I want to be more involved with the places I go. I want to experience the local life, see what the locals do and how they live. You don't need a trust fund or to win the lottery to see the world. You just need to rethink the way you travel. Don't be above everyone in a five-star hotel being chauffeured around with staff saying yes sir or yes miss. Get involved with the real people. The question isn't whether you can afford to travel, it's whether you can afford to stay at home and miss seeing the world. You only live once, and there's a lot to see. So start planning your next budget adventure. Subscribe to my channel for weekly tips on budget travel, location independence, and see how I've managed to explore 40 countries while building a life of freedom. Join fellow adventure seekers who are trading the 9-to-5 grind for passport stamps and unforgettable experiences. And you want to know the secret that makes these budget strategies even more powerful. In this next video, I'll explain why solo travel is the key that unlocked decades of continuous adventure for me. You'll understand how traveling alone helped me discover more real experiences. Solo travel might be the missing piece in your journey.